share a story with you tonight. It's a story, it's an idea, and it's a journey that I'm still on. I'd love to say that I've got to the end of it and I've conquered it and I've really packaged it, but I haven't. It's a journey that I'm on. And over the last couple of years on that journey, I've been really, really fortunate to work with some incredible people. I've worked with people who've happened to end up as Olympic champion, world champion, European champion, Heineken Cup winners. And when you surround yourself with those people and you start to work with those people, people start to wonder, what's the secret? And I've been asked that question a million times. So people think there's a secret out there, there's some type of system you have or a formula that you've created, or there's something you say just before that person goes into the ring at the day of the Olympic final, and it changes everything, and it transforms them into a superhuman. If I looked a little bit more intelligent, or if I spoke a little bit more intelligent, I might make you believe it's something that I do say. And I'd like you to believe that it's something that I've created. The truth is, there's no secret. There's absolutely no secret. It's not a secret that I say, and it's not a thing that I've perfected. It's not a system, and it's not a model, and it's not in a book. But if there is something that I do have in my arsenal, it's a question. And it's a question once asked can never be unasked. It's a question once heard can never be unheard. And I believe once you hear that question, really, really hear it, and start to answer it, everything changes. And everything becomes possible. But before I share the question, I have to set some context. Because I said it's an idea I want to share. But the idea is born in a journey. It's born in a story. And it's this journey and a story that I'm still on. So I'm going to tell my piece. And then I'm going to hand it to you. Early on, when I wanted to become a psychologist and I wanted to help people to achieve great things in life, I was really focused on things like motivation and drive and desire and systems and strategy and structures. And then out of the blue, I came across something that just stopped me in my tracks. Really stopped me and then challenged my very belief in what I was doing. And it was a quotation by T.S. Eliot. And T.S. Eliot wrote a beautiful poem called The Four Quartets. And in the Four Quartets, this line jumped out at me. And he said, we shall not cease from exploration. And at the end of all our exploring, will be to arrive where we started and know that place for the first time. I wasn't sure at the time why, but this absolutely jumped out. Because I had grown up to believe that we start as children, and success is about having vision and focus and strategy and moving through school and getting good grades and moving into college and getting even better grades and moving into a job and getting promoted and finding a wife and settle down and have children and grow old really happy. And that life was a journey of growth that would take you from point A to point B, and surely a really expansive, well-lived life would have you ending up far from where you started. But I read this. And Eliot says we arrive back at our beginning. Surely not possible. But what if it is possible? What if we start off and we end up in the same place? And what is it that we're meant to know? He says we know that place for the first time. I was really intrigued. So I did the only thing I could do. I went back to where it started. Portiuncula Hospital, 29th March 1978. That's where I was born. And because I choose to live in Galway, because it's the most beautiful county in the world, should I die tomorrow or today or next year or any time in the immediate future, I'll be brought back to Portiuncula Hospital. And I went back there to find out one thing. In Portiuncula Hospital, the maternity section and the morgue are 157 metres apart. 157 metres. When I die, I will arrive back 157 metres from where I started. And when I do, I will be in the same place. But it's not just about the physical place we end up. The day I was born with no possessions, no jobs, no title. I didn't have anything. But what I had was fully myself, my true self. That's all I had. It's all I brought into this world. And on the last day, that is all I will take out. The day I was born, some doctor or midwife took a piece of paper, and on that piece of paper, they wrote my name, Gerry Hussey. And that went above my bed. But at that time, I had no idea what that meant. I had no idea the passion, the enthusiasm, the fear, the love, the loss, the excitement that could feel. I had no idea the depths of feeling and emotion and humanity that could be associated with. And the day I die, 157 meters away from where I started, a doctor will again write my name on a piece of paper. And he will put that name above my bed. And at that moment, in my last hours, when I take my last breaths, I will look at that name. And I will be filled with absolute pride or deep regret. Absolute pride or deep regret, not in what I've done, not in what I had, and not in where I saw, but in what I found out about myself. So maybe Ellie was right. We arrive back at where we started, but this time we know it for the first time. So I accept it. I will end up back where I started, with exactly that which I entered the world. Nothing more, nothing less. So who was it that I was born to be? The day you were born, every piece of your incredible, absolute humanity was in place. Humanity is not something that you acquire as you move on. Humanity is not something you earn. Humanity is not something that comes to you piece by piece. The day you were born, every little piece of your beautiful, infinite humanity was fully there. And you knew it. You knew it because you felt it. Humanity is not something that's intellectualized. It's not something that's in a book. It's not in a system. Humanity is at the core of who you are. And the day you were born, you felt it. You felt alive. And you felt absolute unique. And you knew nothing about fear. You knew nothing about anxiety. You knew nothing about stress. You only knew you. And you knew the need to be loved. And as that baby, you believed that you were going to change the world. And you did. Because whether we accept it or believe it or not, you have changed the world since the day you were born. The day you were born, your parents' world was changed forever. If you had brothers or sisters, their world was changed. So whether we accept it or like it, we're world changers. The question is, how do we want to change that world? The baby has this incredible ability to engage people, to attract people, to inspire people. You see a baby in full laughter and in full play, there's nothing that grabs your attention more. And we've all seen the baby walking along, and the baby's no nappy on, and he's a pot belly, and he's walking along, and he's very happy with himself. And he comes up for a look because he's interested in your humanity. He's absolutely not interested in what you do, or the car you drive, or the house you live in. He just wants to see what's going on here. And he doesn't mind if you look at his pot belly. He doesn't mind if you think he's good enough. Because he's absolutely good enough. He's good enough for himself. And he doesn't know anything other than to be himself absolutely fully. And to be that incredible, beautiful human being that he was born to be. He doesn't know anything else. So we're born to be absolutely beautiful. We're born with every possible little thing that we need to be absolutely happy. We were born with everything we need to live the life we've dreamed. So here's the question. If you already have it, it means you have it right now. Are you living the life you dreamed? Are you absolutely happy? That's a question that I had to answer at 3 o'clock in the morning in St. Vincent's Hospital. Extremely sick. In a room with 6 people, 1 was let go because he was untreatable. Left 5 of us. I watched 3 of those people die over a few weeks. And on one particular night, I had to ask myself that question because I believed it was the end. And I remember looking at myself and I thought, this is the bed that I'm going to die in. This is the pajamas that I'm going to die in. And this is what I've become. And I had to ask myself, if that little baby who absolutely believed in me, who thought that I was the greatest thing ever, who just wanted to be loved and to be free and to go and change the world and to become amazing. If that baby looked me straight in the face, would he be proud of the person that I had become? And the answer was no, absolutely not. So I took that question. And I was lucky. I woke up the next day. And I asked myself, well, what happened? How did I change? How did I go from being that beautiful baby who absolutely believed in himself, who didn't worry what other people thought about him, who knew that happiness was an inside job? And I came up with an idea that I'd like to share. The day we were born absolutely complete, absolutely beautiful, absolutely incredible. There's nothing more we needed to be beautiful and incredible. And there was nothing more we needed to live the life that we dreamed. And we do that until something happens. As we start to discover ourselves and the baby discovers, oh, these are my hands. Wait, and these are my feet. And I can control these. But that journey of discovery isn't just physical, it's emotional. So we start to find out what real love feels like. We start to listen and feel what we feel like. And we feel beautiful. But as we discover, we find some little thing or something tells us that maybe we're not as big, as beautiful, as great. Maybe we find something about ourselves that frustrates us. And we start to get angry at ourselves. Or maybe we find out something where we start to think, maybe I'm not beautiful. Maybe I'm not super intelligent. Maybe I'm not the best looking person. And what happens is we start to feel fearful or angry. And as we start to feel fearful or angry, it gets an uncomfortable place to be. And I don't know if I'm really lovable. And I don't know if I can accept myself. And if I can't accept myself, maybe nobody can accept me. So what we do is we trade off. We trade the need to be loved. And we create a second self, which I call the constructed self. And the constructed self is based on what I have and what I do. And if I come from a place of anger, then I'm going to fill that void and I'm going to force myself to become the greatest triathlete in the world, the greatest business person in the world. I'm going to push myself. And every time I push myself, I still don't quite give myself the credit that I deserve. Or if I come from a fearful place, then I want people to see someone who doesn't fail. So I don't take risks. I don't step forward. I don't put myself out there. So at least if I'm not loved for who I am, I'll be respected for what I do. But after a little while being in that place, we start to get frustrated because that deep desire to be loved, that deep desire to be you, that deep desire to be invincible still is there. It still wants expression. So what do? Maybe we learn vulnerability and we come back and we start to explore who we really are and see, could I really love these pieces of me? Could I really forgive these pieces? But that's a tough place to be. So what we do sometimes is we create a third part, a third self. And that's what I call the future self. And the future self is all about, I will be happy when I will be happy if I get. And the future self is a great self. And I love the future self. And I have a future self, and he sits on my left shoulder, and I listen to him every day. And one of the things that my future self does, he wants me to wake up fresher in the morning. And I kind of say, I'm going to go to bed earlier every night. But the future self says, around 9:30, 10 o'clock at night time, the future self says, tell you what's going to happen, Gerry. You're going to bounce out of bed tomorrow morning. Instead of getting up at 6 a.m., you're going to get up at 6:30. You're going to be more alive than you've ever been before. You're going to do some exercise, really healthy breakfast, and you're going to sit in the car, calm and relaxed, and you're just going to be a new man. And I say, am I? You absolutely are. Gee, that's great. And do I need to do anything now? No, just relax. So I sit down and I watch television. And I don't do anything. I just drink a coffee, 11:30. I wonder, should I go to bed? I said to the future self, should I go to bed? Don't worry. A couple of hours' time, you'll be a new man. Gee, that's great. I'll watch Sky Sport. 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm walking down the hall. I can't wait to go. I can't wait for this new man. And I fall into sleep. I said, I can't wait until I wake up. Everything's going to be different. I don't have to change anything. Everything's going to be different, and I'm going to be a new man. And happiness will just fall on top of me. So I fall asleep. And 5 hours later, the alarm clock goes off. It's 6 a.m. I've only had 5 hours sleep. It's wet and cold, and the alarm goes off. Beep, beep, beep. And what is it that I do? Snooze. But the future self still isn't. Oh, he's a fighter. Don't worry, he says. Another 5 minutes and you're going to be a new man. And you say, geez, I feel really groggy. Are you sure 5 minutes will do it? 5 minutes will absolutely do it. Are you sure? Oh, sir, great. So I trust the future self. I fall back. Beep, beep, beep. What do I do again? Snooze. But the future self still doesn't want to give up. Now the future self says, tell you what you want to do. Today's right off anyway. The weather is terrible and it's really, really cold. So the best thing you can do is lie here, relax. Don't change anything. But tonight, you're going to go to bed early. And tomorrow, you'll be a new person. The future self is a great person, but the future self deludes us. The future self makes us believe that if we change nothing, by time alone, we're going to become confident, happy, motivated people. Absolutely not. There's a few questions that I ask top athletes. And these are the questions that maybe trigger a response. And that response can be anything you want, because I can't tell you what success is. I can't tell you what you need to do or need to become or where you need to be. But here's the thing. That baby is still inside of you. And that baby wants nothing more but to be expressed and to live the life that it knows you can live. To be absolutely loved in the way it wants to be loved. To be seen and recognized as the beautiful person that it is. So do you absolutely love him? Whether we like it or not, we all will be faced at a time and place. But we'll have to answer the question. If I came face to face with this baby right now, would this baby be absolutely proud of the person I became? And if you really, really loved yourself, would you speak to the way you speak? Would you speak to yourself the way you speak to yourself? Would you walk the way you walked? Would you eat the way you eat? Would you drink the way you drink? If you really love this beautiful baby, who absolutely believes that you are the greatest person in the world, who believes that you are capable of absolutely anything you want to achieve, and the world and the life that you dream of living is right there. But we've got to listen, and we've got to grow, and we've got to spend time getting to know and accept this baby for all of its beauty, and all of its failings, and all of its rough edges. It's absolutely beautiful. There's nothing more beautiful than someone that's fully human. You were born to be the greatest you that you can ever be. I am the greatest me that has ever lived. You were born to be the greatest you that has ever lived. Go be the greatest you that has ever lived. My idea, and it's simple, the single biggest factor in happiness and success is the relationship that you build between you and your baby self. Do it pride, do it justice, and treat it with absolute love. Thank you very much.